Welcome to the Budget List, episode 3.
This is not financial advice. This is a budget deck tech where we show you how to go fast and punch hard.
What deck goes the fastest? Bright lights coming on the horizon. What are we talking about in this episode?
Obviously, everyone's favorite hero, Riptide.
Oh, the most budget of budget decks.
No, of course, we're getting our guns out. We're coming out guns a-blazing. We're talking about Dash.
Mm-hmm.
Dash is actually Dash is one of the first heroes I started playing. There's 2 decks I built when I first got kind of back into Flesh and Blood during Monarch, and it was Plunder Run Boost Dash and Combo Bolton.
Oh boy.
And man, Dash is a lot of fun.
Yeah, she sure is. And like I mentioned, bright lights on the horizon, all mechanologist set, new players coming into the game. Perfect time to take a look at Dash. We actually had this in the hopper for a little bit now, kind of tweaking the deck and finding a time to record. And then just today, we're recording this on the 13th. Everybody got to watch the Battle Hardened or the PTI event, the CC PTI event in Hong Kong, and Dash took that event down, beating Briar. So very interesting. Maybe a little bit different meta than we've seen here in the States and then at Birmingham. So yeah, perfect timing overall, Nate, to take a look at Dash. Take a look at this $50 deck. We hit it right on the right on the mark again. That we try to keep it 50 or lower. And again, just to remind everybody, these decks are built in a way where you can take it to your local armory and not totally be outclassed. Obviously there's going to be some cards that you're going to want to have if you really like the hero, but again, these are kind of try the deck out, see how you like the mechanics, see how you like shooting some guns, boosting some cards, and decide if you want to upgrade after that.
Yeah, and if you're already that established player, just kind of sleeving this up, and this is a very simple deck for any new player to kind of pick up and learn, because it is very straightforward. You are just going fast and hard in the paint, and you're going to end some people. You might run out of deck sometimes, but hey, you're going to have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Nate, let's jump over and look at the core of the deck. So these are the 4 cards that the deck is built around. If you want to watch, since you're the architect of this deck, if you want to walk through them.
Yeah, so we're not going with the Tekla pistol. We're getting the big boy blaster out here. We're getting the big guns. Don't know why. Sorry, everybody from Boston for the little slow Boston accent
what is
there.
going on?
So we're starting Hyperdriver with Dash's ability, bringing that out, and then we're trying to basically keep that around for as long as humanly possible with crankshafts, and then getting basically our copies 4, 5, and 6 of zipper hits in Jumpstart, which gets discounted every time if you have a hyperdriver in play. So if you boost a crankshaft off the top of the deck, you put another counter back onto hyperdriver. So if you can boost those off the top of your deck, great. Your hyperdriver just sticks around even longer. And you kind of need your hyperdriver to make sure that your turns continue to function, because hyperdriver allows you to go 2 cost, 1 cost, 1 cost, or even 2 cost, 0 cost, 2 cost, or however you want to layer your turns. But it also allows you to get into your max velocity turns. You can do it any number of ways, but just being able to basically, you could boost to 0 first and then just gain a resource. And then once you get this deck upgraded, like Tekla Foundry Heart, you can boost, gain a resource, and then Tekla Foundry Heart, gain 2 resources, and you've pitched 0 cards and you got 2 resources on board. So, and then basically a lot of decks will just try to block you out, which Hanabi Blaster is really great for with the overpower, and it just allows you to go 4 attacks wide, and you're probably presenting usually between 12 to 16 damage a turn on average. And then once every other turn with the Hanabi Blaster, you're pushing that up into the close to 20 damage, and it's very hard for decks to, like, continuously, like, keep pace with that and or, like, block that out.
Yep. Yeah, we saw Dash show up kind of with Hanabi Blaster right at the start when that card was dropped. It kind of fell away from the wayside. I mean, honestly, I think Dash kind of Dash has been kind of in and out of the meta,
Mhm.
overall. And I think maybe we start seeing that come back for her to come back this season. But yeah, this is a lot like our ninja decks that we took a look at. Again, this is just go as fast as you can, right, and punch them down because you don't
Yep.
at a budget you don't have that armor to help you to help you like set up and pivot away and pivot back for a big turn. So you just got to put your foot down and go, never let up. all
Yep.
all gas no brakes, right? So
All gas, no brakes, baby.
yeah, okay. These are the core cards. These are what kind of keep the engine running, to keep the automotive analogies flowing here, I guess. So this is the list overall. You can see here right off the bat, we have obviously the hero and the armor at the top, and then we have the deck count on February here at 74. Nate, where's the sideboard?
There ain't no sideboard, Ted. That's the best part about this deck. You throw every freaking card right in the deck, shuffle it up. Don't double sleeve it. One, these cards are too cheap, and two, that thing will fall over because you're throwing every card in this puppy. Because again, you were trying to basically boost every turn, so you are going to churn through your deck. So you want to make sure that you just have a little bit extra staying power here. Um, to kind of finish things off. Couple things to note about the deck and like Hanabi Blaster and how it works. Hanabi Blaster actually doesn't require you to boost 3 times. You just have to attack with cards that say boost on them. So you can
Hmm.
go boost, attack, and then just attack, and you don't have to boost it.
Yeah.
Just to kind of preserve deck, especially if you have nothing to do with the go again. Um, and then the follow up turn, obviously, you want to get to the blaster if it's relevant or necessary there. Um, and then unload the blaster. It's free 99, baby. There ain't no better value in Flesh and Blood than 5 for
Hmm.
free. That's
Yeah.
broken.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, so that's kind of like the crux of the deck. Into decks that are going to be a little bit more defensive, you have to set up max velocity turns. If you guys know, maybe I haven't said it here yet. If it has 2 digits in that bottom left corner, whoo baby, am I in love? So
Hmm.
like this one says 10. Big number, big number, good. Um, this card requires you to boost 3 times in the turn to get its effect off. Typically, this is going to be the turns where you break Fest of the First Fist to pull this off. Because if you go, let's say like Zipper Hit for 5, 0 for 60 for 3, you got a yellow because your hand's Garbo, and then like Jump Start for 5, and then you end on this. That's 23 damage. You could break Achilles Accelerator and Hanabi Blaster. What? Are you kidding me? That's like 28 damage. We like big numbers, and we cannot
Hmm.
lie. Um, so that's kind of the crux of the deck. If you do have to block in a given turn or you lose cards, it's actually not worth even having a functional turn, because you're boosting cards out of your deck and you're burning your hyperdriver counters. So if you can't put a counter on your Hanabi Blaster, you don't actually want to boost because you're going to burn your hyperdriver counters. And if you aren't hitting crankshafts, it's very sad.
Hmm.
Um, so there's 2 Spark of Geniuses in the deck as well. Those are to help you pull out either if you get it early, you can pull out a Tekla Pounder, and then oh baby,
Hmm.
your Pound Town Tacos, let's go.
Yeah.
Um, and or if you're just kind of like humming along and maybe it's a deck that doesn't block as well, just basically breaking Achilles Accelerator to draw a card and bring out a Teklo Core is very powerful in this deck because it's basically you're swapping this card for a card off the top of your deck and 2 resources the following 2 rounds. Um, and then in a pinch, if you're really hurting and you've lost your hyperdriver, you do have to get it back. This card does
Mhm.
that, and there's also one blue Blessing of Ingenuity, which also helps you get that hyperdriver back into play because your deck definitely is revolving around hyperdriver because that helps you get to Hanabi Blaster every single turn.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think you mentioned it, Nate, on the on the top in the four cards, but you are looking for with Dash's ability, you're allowed to pull an item out of your deck at the start of the game.
Yep.
You go Hyperdriver in this deck to
Yep.
get that cost curve rolling, get those cheap get those resources.
Yes. And you do not pull any other item out of your deck other than hyperdriver because the cost curve of the deck is actually built around hyperdriver always being in play. So if you lose it, it is quite bad for you. Um, we can talk about the equipment a little bit. Achilles Accelerator, if you've boosted this turn, break it, you get an action point. Typically, you're going to want to do this on like max V turns into Hanabi Blaster.
Hmm.
Or, like I just said, you want to do that for your Spark where you draw a card, break it, get your action point back, and then keep going with your turn. Um, Galvanic Bender's in the list because it blocks one, and that's literally it.
Hmm.
Um, Honestly, I'm like looking at it now, you ain't blocking anyways. We going hard. Like you can cut that and put a different boost card in. It's fine. Because most of the time you're gonna be running Goliath Gauntlet, and then Goliath Gauntlet is what you're gonna want to be sticking. Like you want to pop this on your max V turns,
Yep.
um, to just make that turn way over the top of what anyone could possibly defend.
Yep.
Um, and we talked about Vest of the First Fist. An attack action has to hit for you to be able to break this. But if you're going 3 attacks wide at awkward break points, the likelihood that you're going to be able to chip in is pretty high. And as soon as something hits, you break that if it is a max V turn. Otherwise, you do not touch this piece of equipment
Hmm.
unless you are throwing a 10 damage thing at their face. You don't touch this thing. But you have to hit first for this to work. And then Hope Merchant's Hood. It's the get out of jail free card. You got your max V set up, you got your Teklo core out, you're ready to pump, and then you just draw quad blues.
Hmm.
Ship it, baby. Get that out of here. Let's go get something better. You shuffle it up, draw something better, you draw the gas, and then we're off to wreck some people's days.
Hmm.
Um, so that's kind of like the budget version. It's a really fun deck even in like the budget form, and it gets even more fun when you as you start to upgrade and go from there.
Yeah, for sure. This will definitely get you the feel for how mechanologists work. We don't know how the new ones are going to work in bright lights, but
Yep.
there will definitely be support for this hero in some form or another in that set. More boost cards, things like that. So yeah, like it's no better time to get into mechanologist since we're going to have a pure mechanologist set in bright
Yeah,
lights coming up.
yeah. I'm hyped. Please LSS J Dubs. I know you've already sent this to the printers, but maybe just like even the promo. Oh, they already spoiled the promos. Please give us some Hanabi Blaster support. Listen, I just want to be Danny DeVito and Always Sunny and just come in blasting. All right, that's
Yeah,
it.
for sure. So, like you had mentioned, leveling up the deck.
Yep.
So overall, I would say, not too bad as far as
No.
deck cost total once you get to the what would be, the max upgrade for this deck, I think at this time.
Yeah, I mean, the Mechanologist class has such a small card pool that there's literally not much more that you can do. You got Pulse Wave Harpoon, just because that's probably the best one cost mech boost card ever
Hmm.
printed.
Yep.
Card's insane. You got the Tekla
What
Foundry
does
Heart.
that card do? I guess
Yeah,
just.
so into decks that want to race you, this card is very strong. You typically want to end the chain on this. They've taken a bunch of damage to have this like perfectly sculpted hand, and then you're coming in with Pulse Wave Harpoon, which says when you boost this card, reveal your opponent will reveal X, where X is the number of chain links that you boosted this turn.
Mhm.
So they will reveal 3, 4 cards to you out of their hand, and you get the Yoinkia card, basically.
Yeah, it's devastating.
Yep. You get to pull it to the chain link. So if they were trying to set up like a, let's say you're playing into a Fi and they were trying to set up this big like spreading flames Art of War turn, and you're like, shink, that's mine now.
Mhm.
Or like Reiner is trying to set up a Blood Rush Bellow, and you're just like, shrink, that's mine now. Like it's really devastating to end a chain on that and just like pull their best card out of their hand. Um, Especially if they've already blocked a card. Really backbreaking. And then Tekla Foundry Heart, just a staple. This card is going to just kind of let you abuse the resource system even more than you already are with Hyperdriver. And basically, you can pitch 1 blue and get up to 5 resources in a turn, which is kind of insane. Um, and then Crown of Providence.
Mhm.
We all know what that card does. And like if you
Recently affordable.
recently affordable, agreed. Um, It basically lets you filter either from arsenal or from hand, just to try to sculpt even more to try to set up those like big max velocity turns. And honestly, I think if you make the Pulse Wave and Teklo Foundry upgrade, like the deck is easily, you could take this to an Armory Knight and win.
Mhm.
Like deck is very strong, very powerful, and very straightforward. You just go fast and punch. And then fourth is Bright Lights. We're just
Mhm.
waiting.
Yeah.
J-Dubs would never let us down. We're gonna get we're gonna get some sweet Hanabi blaster support, and it's gonna be sick. So, um, yeah, I mean, you can tweak with some of the cards that are in the deck currently, like maybe like Scramble Pulse you don't like as much, but I think the deck is like relatively straight line. You're just trying to go as fast as possible and hope you get there before you run out of gas.
Yeah. So looking at like $230 with these upgrades, I think this just like the ninja decks we looked at previously are this deck is like a prime deck to get to build up, to give to a friend at an armory night, to build up yourself, and then kind of decide, like I mentioned, kind of decide if you want to play mechanologist and get ready for bright lights for sure. Let's end on just like some of the core rules of this deck. I know we've sprinkled them in as we talked about the deck and the cards in the deck and why you chose them. But I think for this deck, maybe a little bit more important, especially because you are, if you don't set up your turns properly, you can get fatigued, and that's no fun.
Yep.
So a couple rules, couple things to remind yourself as you're putting this deck together and you start playing it. Number one, always get Hyperdriver with Dash's ability. You need you need those extra resources to get you to play, and it plays into rule number two is always it's always play 3 boost cards. Again, reminding yourself that you don't boost the last card to get the Hanabi blaster counter, because your deck size, your cards are very important. And if you can't get to that 3rd boost card played, you block out and you try to go next, draw up your next hand, and hopefully you can get it there. And then rule number 3, and kind of like your major win con, especially against decks that can block a little bit better, your Guardians, even like we saw at Hong Kong today in the PTI event, even Briar with her embodiments of Earth can start really pressuring your deck size and run you out of cards. So
Yep.
rule number 3 is set up max velocity. Again, we on the upgrade, you always want to be prioritizing this card of large turn. Even if you can get it lined up, pop your Goliath gauntlet. Do kind of just like try to pop off as large as you can, because as as your opponents take damage on those larger turns, it gets harder and harder for them to block you out. And then just like as we are looking at the upgrade path, Crown of Providence, if you do have one, or if you upgrade and grab that card now, that kind of plays into number 3 here as well. You know, if you have to put something in your arsenal that just isn't ideal, you can Crown of Providence and see what you get, and then possibly set up your turns that way as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the deck's really fun to play. I think rule number 4 not on there. Just have fun. Flesh and Blood's fun.
Yeah.
This deck is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like win or lose, like it doesn't matter. You're just going fast. So go out there, have some fun playing with people in the Flesh and Blood. That's the most important part.
Yep, for sure. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching the budget deck tech. Yeah, it's like you said, go have fun, go play in the Flesh and Blood. It's a couple weeks away, but hopefully I see you at Nats. Nate and I will be walking around. We'll be talking about this in our next episodes as well. But if you just came here for the budget deck and you see me walking around Vegas, come up, say hi. Would love to hear from you, and subscribe, hit the bell, do all the things. I appreciate the views and the engagement.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Yep. Thank you. Peace.